Here we go. Yeah.
Hi, it's your radio again. Can you do me a favor? Get your fingers off my right knob for a second and turn the left one all the way to the right. That's it. Because you're going to want to hear every second of this.
I mean, think about it. Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, these countries are tiny compared to the Soviet Union. They don't pose a serious threat to us the way the Soviet Union posed a threat to us, and yet we were willing to talk to the Soviet Union.
What you're hearing.
The United States joins with the international community in strongly condemning the violent and unjust suppression of innocent Iranian citizens.
Is the inevitable sound.
The way to make government accountable is make it transparent.
Of change. Happening to this frequency.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well funded. My first year as president, not only because we have an obligation to secure our borders and get control of who comes in and out of our country, not only because we have to crack down on employers who are abusing undocumented immigrants instead of hiring citizens, but because we have to finally bring undocumented immigrants out of the shed.
The time is now. The time is right now, today, this very second, this very minute, for you to get with your friends, to get with your family, to get with your neighbors, to get online, to go to the library, to find anywhere a copy of the Constitution and start educating one another on your constitutional rights and on what this country was founded on. The time is now to start holding this government accountable. This administration, in the days of this administration, since the inception of Barack Obama's presidency, through the appointments of radical czars, through the radical associations that this president has with spokespeople from Hamas, who supported his candidacy as a campaigning senator from Illinois with zero experience, his relations to George Soros, his relations to Bill Ayers, Van Jones, Cass Sunstein. The time is now to expose, because now is the time when this administration seems to be so healed. They are on their heels. And on the heels of the Christmas Day bomber. On the heels of the Fort Hood massacre. On the heels of the Times Square failed bombing. On the heels of the Arizona state law that is an extension of federal law. And the administration gaining the legal support and threatening to sue the state of Arizona. On the heels of North Korea arming up and taking down a South Korean naval vessel. On the heels of Iran's ambitions and nuclear announcements that they now have 2 tons of enriched uranium. They are capable now of arming 2 1-ton nuclear warheads. And the rogue dictator, pig-headed leader, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad of Iran, is professing that he's going to wipe Israel clean off the map. Now we have Turkish involvement, joining the axis of evil with the instability off Israel's coast. And what is the approach? What is the response from the White House on every one of these events? Every single one of these events. There is none. There is no response. The answers to the questions are answers without answering the questions. Governor Brewer from the state of Arizona was on the record with Greta Van Susteren on the Fox News channel earlier today, and I'm sitting back watching, thinking to myself, this woman, she really gets it. She's in Washington, D.C. now with the hopes of meeting with the president, and hopefully, she said, the president will open up and talk about the Arizona immigration law, which is an extension of federal law, but the federal government just refuses to acknowledge or enforce. Defending our borders was something that the president, he was so adamant about as a campaigning senator from Illinois. I mean, listen.
Not only because we have an obligation to secure our borders and get control of who comes in and out of our country, not only because we have to crack down on employers who are abusing undocumented immigrants instead of hiring citizens, but because we have to finally bring undocumented immigrants out of the shadows.
Right. Bring undocumented immigrants out of the shadows. But yet, at the same time as the President of the United States, they condemn and without even reading the bill, without even reading the law, the Attorney General of the United States of America, Eric Holder, is making irresponsible, uneducated, uninformed comments about the unconstitutionality of the law that is an extension of federal law. These, folks, now is the time. Now is the time. What I need you to do is I need you to go to your computer. If you don't have a computer, if you don't have internet access, go get a library card. In most places, they're free. And it only takes a couple of minutes to sign up. What I need you to do is find access to the internet. If not access to the internet, go to the library and get a book. Get a copy of the Constitution of the United States of America, the way that this country was founded. Get a copy and read it. It's not very long. And it's written in plain English. There was no legal jargon, no mumble jumble, no attorneys sat down to find out and to haggle back and forth with one another over the Constitution. It was written by the founding fathers of this country. And I want you to educate yourself on the Constitution. I want you then, after you've educated yourself on the simplicity of the Constitution and the simplicity of the way that this country was founded, I then want you to grab your loved ones. After you're done with your loved ones, I want you to grab your friends. After them, your neighbors. After them, your acquaintances. After them, anybody that you know. And ask them if they've read the Constitution, and if they haven't, please hand them your copy of the Constitution and ask them to read it. I don't care if they're Republican. I don't care if they're Democrat. I don't care if they share your political viewpoints. I don't care if they share your religious viewpoints. I don't care if they believe in... I don't care what they believe that may or may not coincide with what you believe. But please, after reading the Constitution and after asking your loved ones and your neighbors and your friends and your acquaintances to read the Constitution and really understand it, then I want you to take a whole new look at this administration. I want you to ask those friends, those neighbors, those relatives, those loved ones, those acquaintances, opposing or not, ask them then how they perceive this administration. Ask them then if they see transparency inside of this president, inside of this government. Ask them then why the press secretary for the United States president in the White House, ask them then why that person can't give an answer to a yes or no question as it relates to corruption that may or may not be going on with the whole SESTAC job offer. Ask them then if what they read when trying to comprehend and understand the Constitution of the United States of America, ask them then if it resembles anything that you see today. And I think that the answers that you're going to find, I gotta believe that there's going to be a point in time when Americans want America back. I have to believe that there's going to be a time when the government at its executive branch and all the way down to PTA boards is going to have to be held accountable for what their promises are when they're campaigning for their positions. I have to believe that there's going to be a day when the White House version of transparency doesn't mean that people are invisible. I have to believe that bipartisanship doesn't mean that you just agree with my party. I have to believe that it's not going to be about Republican and Democrat, red or blue, electoral votes. I have to believe that it's going to be about the voice of you, of America. So get loud, get into the Constitution, grab your neighbors, grab your loved ones, grab your acquaintances, grab your opposition, grab your friends, and grab your foes. Get into the Constitution and understand it. Back tomorrow with more We the People. My name is Stuart Peters.
Your vote is your voice.
Use it.
Use it. You might want to use it